Watch out for the birds. What the hell you doing?
Sorry.
Move it, Ace. That's my spot.
Get over here.
That's my spot, too. Want to use it? You gotta pay. Not so fast, Ace. A little thing around your neck, that'll buy you a spot for the day. Put a hole in your heart.
Bring it up, back off!
No, man. I gotta drop the shank in the dirt.
There ain't no shank, Braden.
Let's go. You're going in the hole for carrying that shank.
Where's your witness?
He saw it.
He didn't see anything.
I didn't see nothing.
Let's go. What you cover for him for?
You got your rules, we got ours.
It's good to keep moving.
It's a mindset, kid. Your body has to be in here, but your brain doesn't, right? Come on, let's run.
Said you my laundry's good.
Wanna play? They're a man short. Hey! I'm talking to you! Hey, punk!
Hey, you know you got a big mouth. Why don't you keep it shut?
What, you little motherfucker?
you
You
starting with
goddamn
me? I didn't
asshole!
I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
The story begins with Frank Leone working at a small garage in New Jersey. Frank is a talented mechanic who genuinely enjoys repairing cars and helping people.
I'm looking for a mechanic.
What do you need?
I have to get it fixed right away. I need somebody who really knows what they're doing.
One day, a woman arrives asking him to fix her car, and Frank playfully teases her while working. It soon becomes clear that the woman is actually his girlfriend named Melissa. The two share a warm, loving relationship, and after work, they spend time together like an ordinary couple. Later, Frank is seen playing football in a park with neighborhood kids while Melissa watches him with a smile. After the game, Melissa drives Frank to Norwood Prison, where he is serving time as an inmate. Despite being a prisoner, Frank has earned the respect of both guards and fellow inmates because of his good behavior and positive attitude. He is considered a model prisoner and is even allowed occasional furloughs, which is why he can work at the garage and spend short periods of time outside prison.
I'll get you more starch next time.
Frank is well liked by everyone. He greets guards and inmates alike, maintaining a calm and respectful demeanor. With only 6 months remaining on his sentence, it seems that Frank's time in prison will end peacefully. But one night everything suddenly changes.
What is this shit here, Jimmy?
I don't know, but it's official.
On your feet, Leone. On your feet!
A group of aggressive guards storms into the prison and forcibly drags Frank out of his cell without explanation. He is handcuffed, shoved into a transport van, and told that he is being transferred immediately to another prison. Confused and angry, Frank protests that he has been given no notice, but the guards coldly tell him that this is simply how things are done. The van delivers Frank to Gateway Prison, a brutal maximum security facility.
Shut up! You're the wrong man!
You made a mistake!
Waiting there is the prison's warden, Drum Go'ol. The moment Frank sees him, he realizes exactly why he has been brought there. Drum Go'ol greets him with satisfaction, clearly enjoying Frank's shock.
Welcome to Gateway, Leone. Captain?
Move him!
The warden has arranged the transfer purely out of revenge. Frank's imprisonment traces back to an earlier incident at Treadmore Prison. Years earlier, Frank had broken out of that prison for a brief time in order to visit his dying mentor. The prison warden at the time, Drum Go'ol, had refused Frank even a single hour to see the man who had raised and guided him. Desperate and angry, Frank escaped just long enough to see his mentor before he died. Afterward, Frank voluntarily returned and exposed to the press the cruel treatment prisoners were subjected to under Drum Go'ol's authority. Though Frank was punished with additional time for escaping, The publicity surrounding the incident led to his transfer to the far more humane Norwood facility. Frank had been praised by the public for standing up against abuse, but the scandal ruined Drumgoal's once perfect reputation and led to his demotion and reassignment to Gateway.
To remind me of how things ought to be. You and your lawyer saw to it that everything made it into the papers, didn't you? Distorting the facts, making a criminal into a hero, and a warden into a criminal. You took my future away from me. You and those bleeding heart politicians, they sent you to Norwood. That's a country club.
Drumgoal blames Frank entirely for the downfall of his career and intends to make him suffer. Drumgoal insists that Frank's escape humiliated him and cost him everything. Frank fires back that Drumgoal caused his own downfall by refusing a dying man a final visit from the person who loved him.
All I asked for is 1 hour. 1 hour to visit with that old man before he died. Do you remember that?
You broke the law, and I was punished.
And I got 5 goddamn years and I paid my debt.
To the state, not to me, but you're going to.
Drumgoal coldly concludes the meeting by promising Frank that his suffering has only just begun. The guards take Frank to be deloused and force him into a chamber supposedly filled with toxic gas that prisoners must hold their breath to survive.
10 seconds.
As Frank struggles to endure the test, Drumgoal maliciously extends the exposure time, forcing Frank to struggle and gasp for air.
It will cost you dearly.
The following day, Frank enters the prison yard, where he begins meeting the inmates of Gateway. One of them is Chink Weber, a violent bully who acts as a sort of enforcer for the warden.
That's my spot. That's my spot, too. Not so fast, Ace.
Chink tries to provoke Frank by threatening him with a hidden knife, but Captain Meissner intervenes and demands the weapon. When the knife cannot be found, Meissner questions Frank, but Frank refuses to cooperate, unwilling to start trouble.
What you cover for him for?
You got your rules, we got ours.
Later Frank is approached by Dallas, an inmate who knew him from his previous prison. Dallas admires Frank and believes that someone as capable as him could easily escape Gateway. He tries to convince Frank to help plan a breakout, but Frank refuses. With only a short time left on his sentence, he wants no part in another escape attempt. Dallas then introduces Frank to Eclipse, a mechanic who runs the prison garage. Dallas argues that Frank's mechanical skills would be valuable there, but Eclipse distrusts newcomers and tells them to leave.
Hey, you! Get your face out of that moat! Get your face out of there! Stay away from it, okay? Okay?
Meanwhile, Melissa arrives at Gateway hoping to visit Frank, but the guards refuse to allow the visit, claiming he is currently in the general population. Captain Meissner later reassures her that Frank is safe.
Why did you bring him here?
Routine transfer.
Though he dismisses her concerns about the suspicious transfer by calling it routine. Frank continues performing menial prison tasks until Dallas again approaches him with an escape plan based on stolen blueprints. Dallas believes they can crawl through a system of pipes leading to the roof, but Frank quickly points out that the pipe Dallas wants to use is hot enough to cook them alive, proving the plan is hopeless.
You think you're gonna shimmy slide across 200 yards of steam pipe running full out at 160 degrees and get away with it? You try, they're gonna change your name from Departing Dallas to Deep Fried Dallas.
During lunch, Frank notices a timid young inmate sitting alone and invites him to join his table along with Dallas. The young prisoner is nicknamed First Base and initially wants nothing to do with them. Suddenly, another inmate stabs someone in the cafeteria and casually walks away, demonstrating the brutal reality of Gateway. Frank tells First Base that the only way to survive here is by sticking together. Later in the yard, Frank and First Base are challenged to a football game by Chink and his friends.
Wanna play? Hey! I'm talking to you!
Hey, you know you got a big mouth. Why don't you keep it shut?
Hey, your ass!
Hey, you wanna play? We'll play. Let's play.
Goddamn right we'll play. Stay down! Come on! Come on!
The game turns violent as Chink's gang targets Frank. Seeing Frank outnumbered, Eclipse unexpectedly joins the game to help him. Together they manage to win and a fight quickly breaks out, but the guards quickly intervene. Impressed by Frank's toughness and integrity, Eclipse finally invites him to work at the prison garage. Inside the garage, Frank discovers an old Ford Mustang that has long since fallen into disrepair. He enthusiastically offers to restore the vehicle, and Eclipse agrees. Frank begins working tirelessly on the car, demonstrating remarkable mechanical skill. Dallas, first base, and Eclipse join him, and together the four men gradually transform the rusting machine into a beautiful vehicle. One day, Frank reluctantly allows first base to start the engine. The excited young inmate accidentally drives the Mustang out of the garage and into the prison yard before losing control. Guards quickly stop him, but Drumgoal uses the incident as an excuse to punish Frank.
Let's go! Break it up!
You're the wrong man. 6 weeks.
It's not his fault, sir. It was mine.
Captain! I want to break up this car. I want you to watch this, Leone.
To break his spirit, the warden forces Frank and his friends to watch as other inmates destroy the Mustang they worked so hard to restore. Afterward, Frank is thrown into solitary confinement, where guards brutally beat and torture him for 6 weeks. Captain Meissner eventually discovers the abuse and angrily orders it stopped.
Who ordered this?
The warden.
Disgusted by the cruelty being carried out under Drumgoal's orders, he releases Frank and personally returns him to his cell. Meissner also secretly gives Frank a stack of letters from Melissa that the warden had deliberately withheld. When Frank reunites with his friends in the garage, they are furious about what happened to him. Frank calms them down, reminding them that his release is close. He believes he can endure whatever Drumgoal throws at him for just a few more weeks.
I got 3 weeks to get out of here. And in 3 weeks, I'm walking. That's all I care about.
But Drumgoal has no intention of letting Frank leave quietly. Determined to provoke him into committing another crime, the warden secretly orders Chink to murder first base in the prison gym.
I want you to clean up the gym.
Got a rematch later, right, buddy?
Oh, yeah, sure, anytime.
It's already cleaned.
What are you, deaf? Shut your mouth and do it.
Chink and his gang corners first base in the gym and kills him using a barbell. When Frank learns about the brutal killing of his friend, he becomes devastated.
I know.
Enraged, he attacks Chink in the compound. However, Frank stops short of killing him, realizing that committing murder would give Drumgoal exactly what he wants. Before Frank can walk away, one of Chink's associates stabs him in the back with a shank. Frank is later taken to the prison infirmary where he slowly recovers. Melissa is finally allowed to visit him, but Drumgoal cruelly cuts their visit short after only a few minutes.
The warden said half an hour.
What you want to do is keep your mouth shut, fix your clothes, and get out. Come on.
While Frank is still recovering, another inmate approaches him claiming that he has been hired to rape and murder Melissa as soon as he is released. The man even shows Frank a photograph of her, sending Frank into a desperate rage. Frank tries to call Melissa to warn her but is denied permission to use the phone. Believing Melissa is in immediate danger, Frank finally agrees to escape. He goes to Dallas and asks for help. Dallas hesitates, reminding him that only a few days remain on his sentence, but Frank insists he cannot risk Melissa's life. That night the two overpower a guard and flee through the prison corridors. They crawl through narrow passages and reach a junction where they must choose a direction. Frank wants to go one way, but Dallas insists they take another route, and confident it will lead them flee the facility. Unfortunately, Dallas leads Frank directly into an ambush where Drumgoal and his guards are waiting. The warden gleefully reveals the truth. The supposed threat against Melissa was entirely fabricated to trick Frank into attempting another escape. With this second escape attempt, Drumgoal plans to add 10 more years to Frank's sentence. Dallas demands the reward Drumgoal promised him, early release, but the warden coldly refuses, ordering the guards to beat both prisoners instead. Realizing he has been used and that other inmates will surely kill him for betraying Frank, Dallas apologizes sincerely. As guards continue beating them, Dallas sacrifices himself by throwing an electrical wire into a pool of water where he and a guard are standing, electrocuting them both and allowing Frank to escape. Frank manages to break free and run through the prison. The guards believe he is trying to flee the facility, but instead, Frank sneaks back inside and confronts Drumgoal in the execution chamber. There, he straps the terrified warden into the electric chair and tapes his own hand to the switch that activates it. If the guards shoot Frank, the switch will trigger and electrocute Drumgoal. Captain Meissner and several guards burst into the room, creating a tense standoff. Under the threat of death, Drumgoal finally confesses that he orchestrated everything in order to extend Frank's sentence.
Everything that he said was true. I set him up. Everything.
Frank then pulls the switch but nothing happens. He reveals that he removed a fuse beforehand and only wanted the confession. Meissner arrests Frank but also places Drumgoal in custody for his crimes. Despite the warden's protests that he was only playing along, the confession triggers a formal investigation into his abuse of power. After the inquiry confirms Drumgoal's corruption, Frank serves only the time he was originally required to complete. Weeks later, he is finally released from Gateway Prison. As he walks out, many of the inmates cheer him on. Captain Meissner personally escorts Frank to the gate. Frank jokes that he will miss the captain's smile.
Your incredible smile.
Subscribe for more dramas like this, and don't forget to like this video, it really helps the channel grow.